Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, best vehicle for Deb.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it.
You know what?
You're right. We got this.
Is somebody playing a piano? Are you doing
Go
this from
for
behind
it.
a piano, McConville?
No.
Does nobody else hear that piano?
Do you really hear a piano?
I 100% hear a piano.
Oh, wow. I can't. I didn't think I'd be here.
Oh, hold on.
Unraveling. What'd you do,
You got
Grandpa?
background music going on at your house?
Yeah, really.
I had an audition song playing in my headphones that just automatic, you know, how for some reason Apple Music just periodically starts automatically playing a random song, or maybe you don't have that problem. I have that problem, and it was playing one in my ears right now. And you were beginning the show, and I'm thinking, who is doing this from a saloon? But that's not what's happening. Oh, Hal.
Welcome to We Got This with Mark and Hal.
They don't need to hear all of that stuff. Let's start the episode now.
It all stays in. Mark, stop trying to make it perfect. We abandoned that in 2015 when we started this.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, this is going to be a wonderfully imperfect episode because this is a wide-ranging topic. We have no research in front of us. We're just going to fly by the seat of our pants here. The topic today, one of my favorites, and the guest today, one of my favorites, our dear friend Mark McConville. What's up, McConville?
Yo, how you doing?
Oh, great.
Welcome to We Got This with Mark and Hal.
Oh, no. You're also starting the show.
I'm going to pick a mark at the end of the show who will get to continue.
To shoot.
Do you guys hear a piano? Do you hear a piano playing?
Yeah. I do.
Now you have to use it.
Yeah. Now it's a callback. Let's talk about vehicles for dip.
Yeah.
McConville, you jumped on this one immediately when you saw our list of topics that we have for the show. Are you a dipping kind of guy?
Well, yeah. Dips are great. But now I'm very scared because I have what do you mean by vehicle for dip?
Sure.
You're not talking about an automobile that you're going to drive dip around in.
No. Or maybe.
I mean, the winner of this could very well be a well-lined pickup truck.
Yeah. It's a Peterbilt.
Yeah.
But just so I'm clear and just so the listeners are clear, when you say best vehicle for dip, you mean a piece of matter that's going to help dip go in my face.
Correct.
Yes.
Everything from your hand to the highest end cracker. I'm trying to think of the most expensive thing. You know, the most expensive.
The highest end cracker. I'm trying to imagine what that might be. It's got to have gold leaf on it, right?
Yeah, it's gold leaf.
All the expensive stuff has gold leaf.
Uh-huh.
It's just a solid gold cracker that you can't eat. You just put dip in your mouth with this piece of gold.
Yeah, you're constantly wrapping your lip around a doubloon.
Which is my first candidate. Pirate doubloon.
It's rare, so it's very special, and it doesn't go bad.
I guess I didn't ask this beforehand. We didn't necessarily put this in the question. Are we looking for the best edible vehicle for dip?
Well, here's what
let's get terms and conditions down here before I sign off on this episode, guys.
You don't just scroll.
Look, this is our first show of 2022, and I've come quasi-prepared, which is very rare for me to have any kind of preparedness. But I've been thinking about this a lot. This is Anna Giffen, by the way, is the person who suggested this, so thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna.
I think we have to look at, I think it is edible, but I also think that there are certain parameters that make it good. Number one is its ability to hold and transfer dip. Like carrots are a decent thing to dip. And if you make a carrot stick or a carrot chip, it's a little bit better. But generally when we think of carrots, we think of like baby carrots, and you're lucky to get, it has to be a really firm dip
or a really dry baby carrot.
Yeah. If it's dry enough to have cracks, then you can get some in like the crevasse, but it needs to be able to deliver the dip well. And it also should be able to complement the widest variety of dips.
Interesting. Okay. So we're not necessarily putting them specifically next to one another. It's not a pairing of, a graham cracker you will dip in something different than you would dip a tortilla chip in. You want the most versatile of the dip vehicles. That makes sense.
I think so. I think a graham cracker suffers from the same thing as like Carr's water cracker, and that it's just a flat surface. So it's got to be something real sticky. But also, what are you dipping a graham cracker in that isn't viscous?
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you two boys a question.
Sure.
When you go to, let's say, a restaurant you've never been to, do you read the entire menu, or do you just, like, for instance, I know I love French onion soup. So if I see French onion soup on a menu, I'm probably stopping there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I set an MVP. And then I see who can or I set a King of the Mountain, and I read the whole menu to see if anyone can take the King of the Mountain down.
Because I know people that are very particular about what they eat, and they just, that when they see that thing, they get it. Or they go, if they're going to a restaurant they've been to many times, they will only get the thing. I'm married to an old man who orders the same entree at restaurants that we go to a lot, where I will try different things. I'm just curious if there's any. I guess this is my long-winded way of saying I like to just go over all of the choices.
Sure. Do you have a giant list of crazy things that you've dipped into dips before? Was this a precursor question? Were you buttering us up to say, guys, hear me out, gummy bears?
No, quite the opposite. If you listened, longtime listeners might have heard me talking about lead singers, front men and women. I did a lot of work for that one. This one,
none at all.
It's Highlander. There can only be one. I have some right here.
Did you bring a?
Yeah.
This is it. Oh, there's no other. Oh, wow. There's no other choice.
Hold on a second. You are coming in hot with a number one choice.
Don't say what it is. Don't say
physically
what it is,
in your hand. Don't say what it is.
Well, I already said Trader Joe's.
That's okay. Trader Joe's has a million things.
They have their own Doritos.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It could be a ginger Oreos. Terrible. Yeah.
You're saying me don't tell you what it is.
Don't tell. No, we see what it is.
We're going to hold back.
We'll hold off.
I do want to go back to the menu because I didn't get to weigh in, and I love talking about ordering food. I definitely have stuff that I like. And I scan the menu. Like, I also enjoy French onion soup. If I see a French onion soup, probably going to get it. But I also like to look through the entrees. I'm looking for like 3 good contenders. And even with that, I probably already know the thing I'm going to get. If it's a new restaurant, for sure. Like, here's my analogy. If I go into a bakery, they could be the fanciest bakery in the world. The only thing I want to try from them the first time in is their chocolate chip cookie. Because if they can't get the most basic bakery staple right, then I'm not going to trust their higher end stuff. Like, their attention to details off for me. I want to see what they put into the things that I already know really well. And then I'll come back to try other things.
What if they have a specialty though? What if the chocolate chip cookie is a deliberate afterthought because this is a bakery that specializes in, say, cheesecakes?
Don't want
it. Fair enough.
I guess in my mind, I tried to compile the menu of what would put on the list for the vehicle for dip. And I just went, what's the point? I have a top dog and you're not taking it down.
Oh,
it's true.
There are other choices. There are other
having
choices.
Having seen your top dog, it is a darn good top dog. And I think this might be the first time on this show ever where we have, thanks to the magic of Zoom, we have a visual secret that we are keeping from the audience until later in the episode. Sorry, people of the world. We will get there. I promise. But first, I want to ask you guys, what do you think of how we should set this up in order to efficiently look at all of these? I would propose we can break them into some big categories. There are lots of sort of large categories for things that you will dip. You've got vegetables, you've got crackers, you've got chips, you've got fried foods, though I would argue that often, and this is an argument we can have right now and nip it in the bud if you would like, I would argue that fried foods are frequently the star of the show, and what you are dipping them into are not dips, but condiments.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about like zucchini sticks that you're dipping in ranch dressing. Would you call those condiments? Yes.
I wear a rubber wedding ring and it just flew off my finger and hit my desk and it sounded like a spittoon in a Western.
I gotta tell you.
Yeah. Ding. Exactly.
Cue the piano player.
Do you hear it? Do you hear it too?
Oh, we can't eliminate that thing at the beginning anymore.
Yeah. No, fried foods, like the dip is the accoutrement. This has to be like if you have, say, Ruffles and like a chip dip, you're trying to get as much dip as possible. It's almost like a spoon. If you could double dip, you might. And if you were home alone, you definitely would. You take the bite and then it just becomes a smaller spoon. It's got to be like celery is a good example of something that is a vehicle for dip, but it's such a garbage food raw that I like it detracts from whatever you're putting on. Like, you can't put enough peanut butter or whatever on top of the celery to make the celery taste go away. Am I wrong?
Put the raisins on there too. Look, you can't just have the log. You need the ants.
Yeah, get the ants on that log.
Get the ants on the log, man.
Put whatever you want on there. Put like a whole hanger steak on there. You're still going to taste the celery.
The problem with celery is that if you dip it in a dip and then pull it up vertically, all of that dip just slides right off. Celery is like, it's glass surface.
It's the water
for
slide.
God's sake. Yeah, it's the water slide of dip vehicles. What other categories do we have besides, because I do think we can dig into some of these individual categories further.
Well, I think you have a monster that's just out there in the woods that we haven't addressed yet.
What's that?
That's just bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. But it has to be like a crostini, right? Because otherwise you're sopping the bread up.
Not necessarily, though you do wind up eating a lot more bread. I remember going over to Mike Ross's house once years ago, and it was one of the most Italian moments that I had. He said, "Hey, I just made a sauce. You want to come try it?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And I come over and he just gives me a bowl of the sauce and half a loaf of bread. And there was no pasta. He's like, "I didn't make any pasta, but I got a half a loaf of bread." And we just sat there and tore off hunks of bread. You wind up eating a marathon's worth of carbs, but it's just, bread is so wonderful for just soaking that up. But I wind up having these giant knobs of torn bread. Christini, come on, that's too fancy for bread dipping. If you're bread dipping, you're ripping dipping.
Yeah, you don't even use the G.
Yeah.
Look, and if you're eating crostini with your dip, you might as well just grab that gold doubloon.
I forget to keep mine on the chain around my neck, which is what I should be doing.
That's what I do, because then you never really lose it. Though you do, if you have chest hair, it starts to smell like hummus sometimes.
Also, there's that hole in the doubloon that you had to put in it to put the chain around it.
Yeah.
And that's some dip falls through that hole.
Oh, you can get a frame for it. That's what it hooks into. I saw it on Amazon.
Oh, right on.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen they have for food festivals? I've seen them at Disney World for the Food and Wine Festival, but I imagine you could take it to any festival. It is a tray that just has a strap around your neck and then sits perpendicular to your stomach. So you just have your own baby tray with you wherever you go. I kind of love that.
I feel like I would. I feel shame thinking about wearing one. Because in my head, everybody who saw me, especially at Disney, would be like, that checks out. Like, he probably brought that from home. Like, I'm going to go to the food court at the Glendale Galleria and also go, "Hey, Surfside Fries, can you fill this up for me?"
What a distinctly American thing, by the way.
Right?
And I'm only saying this because you said Disney. I went to Tokyo Disney Sea, which, by the way, it took me a year after I visited to go like, oh, it's Disneyland and Disney Sea.
Oh,
I never thought about
Thanks
that.
for doing that for the rest of us.
Yeah.
You're welcome. My wife had been there before. It was my first day in Japan. The idea was we'll go there and we'll kill jet lag by walking around an amusement park and going on rides, and we'll be able to stay up. We won't be able to sit down. There's so much to do, which is true. But we pulled over and we grabbed a churro or something, and I went, "Great, let's go see Small World, whatever." And my wife said, No. You don't walk and eat.
Yeah.
Culturally, you sit down, you stop, you eat, and then you go. How American is it that you have a mobile small table
just around your neck
that you can walk around with and just shove fried cheese in your face?
Delightful.
Not even
sit down for 5 minutes and eat it, and then go do your thing.
Nope. This is America, where the need to be somewhere else cannot get in the way of you having a sit-down meal. We figured it out. Oh, put me on my rascal and slap that tray on top of my belly like a Buddha.
At that point, well, you don't need that. You could just put a tray on the front of the rascal.
Yeah. Do they have a rascal with a tray on the front instead of a basket? I don't need a basket. I'm not bringing a bag. Everything there is disposable and comes with its own utensils.
I have my cookies on there for later. This is the dinner tray. It goes higher.
If you have tiers of trays just going down the front of you like a washboard.
I just turn a hand crank and then the next one pops up. It's really genius. I'm patent pending.
Let's talk about vegetables, guys.
Okay.
Let's talk about dipping different vegetables into dips. Based on what you said earlier, Hal, I would argue that there is a possibility that the best vegetable for collecting a dip, though it has a strong flavor, is broccoli. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's a bigger offender. I love broccoli. It's a bigger offender than celery when it comes to the flavor.
Yeah, it's strong.
So you're looking for your vessel. You're looking for a neutral vessel?
Either that or it has to be a flavor that complements you don't.
But no vessel.
Like if you have let's say you have like a Ruffles chip. I'm going to come back to that. I don't think Ruffles is the winner, but I think it's a good contender.
Sure.
That's a handsome, good tasting chip. So when you dip that, you can enjoy not only the dip part of it, but the rest of it is good too. Once you eat the part of the broccoli that has the dip on it, full stop. You need to get more dip. And if you're in a group setting, you're going to probably throw that stalk out.
Yeah, you just need a bowl like for celery or for broccoli stalks, like you would have a bowl for olive pits.
Mm-hmm.
You got to load up your own dip on your plate.
That's true. You have to do that too.
Just use a spoon, put some dip on your plate, and then you can double dip all you like.
What if the dip's too thin for the plate, though?
Yeah.
What if it's a salsa?
Then get okay, here's what you do. They probably have red Solo cups at this party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
You pull out your pocket knife and you make a small little ramekin out of the bottom of the red Solo cup. You cut, 3-4 inches off the top of the cup right around, and then you just make your own little, that's what I do.
I was going to say that sounds so from experience.
It's not, but I do have a friend. When my friend got married, he loves Bloody Marys, and we were camping. It was sort of an outdoor camp wedding thing. And he took a Smart Water bottle and cut the top off of it and made his Bloody Mary in a big, tall Smart Water bottle. And I went, that's really smart. Oh, also I never had seen this before, but one day I came home and my wife had cut the mustard bottle in half.
Mm-hmm.
What?
To get all the mustard out.
That's smart, because you always wind up throwing away a whole coating's worth of mustard.
You wouldn't believe how much mustard was in there. It's not really a dip, and it's not really germane to this conversation.
That was my first question. Is a condiment a dip? Because arguably the best vehicle for dip is the French fry, dipping into ketchup. Because the French fry has won several episodes, I believe, as side dishes go and
doesn't hold
delightful
enough.
Treats.
Doesn't hold enough. You have to have the right flavor. You have a steak fry? Sure.
Yeah.
But you're not, okay. I keep going to hummus. Hummus is a dip that I am not interested in dipping a French fry in.
Yeah. Nope. Is hummus your baseline dip for these neutral dips that Hal likes so much?
Well, I guess I'm sort of like
Why? What? Let me get the.
How's the neutral vehicle guy? How's the Camry of this conversation?
And this is where I see my issue of I want to read the menu. It's not so much that I want to read the menu of the vehicles for dip. I want to read the menu for dips.
Yeah.
Cause I don't want to dunk. I'll dunk a fry in lots of stuff, but I feel like it has limitations.
Yes.
This is a longer conversation than right now. Just curious, what is your personal number one go-to dip? Are you a guac guy? Or are you a salsa guy?
I love guac and I love salsa, but if we're talking dip, capital D, capital I, capital P.
Exclamation point.
It's spinach and artichoke.
Oh, 100%. I'm with you.
That's pretty
I
great.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you dip into your spinach and artichoke dip?
Well, I don't want to say because I'll give away the secret.
Oh, so your personal choice here. This is for all dips, including the spinach artichoke dip. Because I would argue that a spinach artichoke dip can use a even more neutral flavor. Because it even feels weird to me to dunk a tortilla chip into a spinach and artichoke dip, because tortilla chip feels like it has its own flavor thing going on. I feel like I want a vehicle that is specifically designed to be beige, to go into a super flavorful dip.
Well, then you're taking a Cars water cracker, and that's going to be the end of your day.
Not necessarily. Or I'm taking
a saltine.
That's how now I'm being insulted on my own show.
Now who's the Camry? Now who is? I think you have to keep tortilla chips. I think another thing, like for a vehicle for dip, is it something that's out at a party? Because that's really where you're encountering dips in a widespread setting. Yes, you can put olive oil, garlic, salt, and vinegar or whatever as a dip and put bread in it. You can do marinara bread dip. You can order fried foods that come with their own dip made to complement it. But that doesn't make them good vehicles. It just means that whoever is serving it has chosen the dip that is meant to go with this appetizer that's supposed to fill you up or make you want to order alcohol or whatever they're trying to pull.
Now, can you
Applebee's? Not
I will posit this to both of you.
Mm-hmm.
If you are at a party with one of these spreads that you've mentioned and you've got this big tray or a table, even a whole banquet table of all different kinds of foods laid out on it.
Flip it.
Flip the table. Just two hands underneath, yell something. Just the first noun that comes into your head, flip the table.
And then over goes the table.
Are you a monster if you use something that isn't adjacent to the dip and dip it into the dip?
What do you mean?
Meaning if there's
like a chair leg?
Yeah. Yeah. If I just happen to rip a leg off a chair. No, if you're like, okay, this dip is clearly designed. This is on the tray with all of the vegetables.
You're saying
the tortilla chips are over here with the salsa. Can I take one of the tortilla chips and dunk it in the hummus that's on the table with the vegetables?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't make me eat anything.
Fair enough.
Go ahead and feng shui your snack table. I'm doing what I want.
Yeah, like anything out there is fair game to dip into anything.
Basically, am I a monster if I roll up one of the salamis and dunk it in the hummus? That's what I'm asking.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Because then I live with a lifelong vegetarian. You got
there you go.
That's why you got to scoop your own hummus.
You have to put it on a plate. If you create your own plate of dip, you can put whatever you want in it. But
of course you can.
The community dip.
That was my question. Can you dip something not from that immediate vicinity into the community dip bowl?
Well, no, I think you have to build your own dip reservoir and then you can dip whatever the heck you want in it.
All right.
Yes. And I would also say this just as a public service announcement, Monster.
Mm-hmm.
The three of us have had opportunities to be around craft service where there's just a whole bunch of snacks around.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put your hand in the food. Open the box,
tongs.
Pour it out. Use the tongs. If it's a bag of chips, I know you want to reach in that bag and pull out a handful and put it on the plate. Just pour them out. Don't touch anything. You've been handling wires all day, Mr. Crew member. Please keep your filthy hands out of the communal food.
Especially now.
Be nice.
Yeah, I think that now kind of everybody's sort of taking that into consideration now, right? In the real world, COVID has turned that into a thing.
Yeah. But really take a look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I a person who puts my hand in a box full of Wheat Thins and really gets in there and mixes them around before I pull them out? Because you're just putting germs on it. Yeah. Just dump the food out. I'm not even a germy person. I just think you have a high probability of tainting food by shoving your mitts in there.
Yeah.
Use a spoon, use a tong, you pour them out. Use a plate.
And you know what? Assume that you're going to get more than you think you're going to at the buffet line. Because I've in the past done there's little plates right here. And there's also just the cocktail napkin. I'm not going to get that much. I'm just going to get like a piece of celery and maybe a cheese cube. I'll just use the napkin. Get the whole plate. Then you can put your dip on it.
And hey,
or get that solo cup and your penknife.
When you're at the carving station, don't be afraid to say, I need more than that. That paper thin slice of turkey ain't going to cut. If I pour gravy on that thing, it's going to soak through like it's a tissue.
Man, what? I need to go to the parties you're going to.
It needs to be like a cartoon where you cut a small slice and then just give me the hunk of meat that's behind it. That's
you get the piece of pie that looks like a Pac-Man.
Yeah, give me the Pac-Man pie. Listen, we could talk about buffet etiquette all day, but what we need to do right now is take a very quick break. Then we're going to get back into we're going to dip in. We're going to become the vehicles for the dip of this decision. And that does make sense. Play it back. We're going to take a quick break to hear from some of our sponsors and some of the other great shows on Max Fun. We'll be right back. Did you ever come back from a trip to the store and then you look in the bag and you realize you forgot something? That one thing that you need for dinner? Guess what? You have options. You don't have to go back to the store. Get the groceries you need or a backup meal from your favorite local restaurant delivered with DoorDash. You can get what you want to eat right now and right to your door with DoorDash. And along with restaurants you love, you can now get groceries and other essential items delivered with DoorDash. Get drinks, snacks, and other household items in under an hour. And with over 300,000 partners, you can support your neighborhood go-tos or choose from your favorite national restaurants like Popeyes, Chipotle, and Cheesecake Factory. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and zero delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code We Got This. That's 25% off, up to $10 value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code We Got This. Don't forget, that's code We Got This for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change. Terms apply.
Hi, I'm Dan McCoy.
I'm Stuart Wellington.
And I'm Elliot Kalin.
And the three of us host The Flophouse. It's a podcast where we watch a new bad movie and then we talk about it.
Dan, you say it's hosted by the three of us. We've had a lot of great guest co-hosts like Gillian Flynn, Jamel Bowie, John Hodgman, Jessica Williams, Wyatt Cenac, Joe Bob Briggs, Josh Gondelman, Roman Mars.
Yeah, and you said new movies. But what about the time we did Meatballs 2?
Okay. Yeah, sometimes we do older movies and sometimes we have guests, but mostly it's about us talking about, like, recent bad movies.
And don't forget about the ones where I made you do a role-playing game where you played cartoon dogs.
All right, yeah.
Shouldn't a promo be a really simple explanation about what our show's about? So what's the show about, Dan?
What's it about?
What's it about?
It's about friendship, all right? It's about our friendship and how we love each other.
The Flophouse. It's a podcast mostly about bad movies on Maximum Fun.
All right, we're back.
All right.
Mark, I cut you off to go to break. Do you
Which
remember
Mark?
what you were going to say?
Was it me?
Yes. Yes, you.
Well, I think it's time, in the spirit of the elimination diet, we should probably just get rid of some categories altogether.
Yep.
Like, I don't think meat of any kind
Is a
is
dip.
going to be
No.
your vehicle for dip.
No way.
I don't
Unless it is a giant, perfectly crafted, one of those spoons that goes inside like a pho. You know, that like spoon that looks like a ladle,
Sure.
made entirely out of ground beef.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you make
if
that
that
up?
were a thing, then that would be the meat vehicle of choice.
I guess.
Yeah. But that's not a thing that exists, so we can eliminate it, I suppose.
And I also would like to just put down there, get it established. We're talking savory for the most part here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of a lot of, I mean, that I guess goes to what we were talking before about the specificity.
Don't say strawberries.
Strawberries and chocolate.
Don't say strawberries and chocolate. Don't
Why?
do it. Because it's no. You have to have a fountain to properly do it. And I hate those. Those are feel like all I can imagine is everybody's put their hands and face in it. And if you ask them if they did it, they've got chocolate all over. They're like, no, I didn't do it.
Oh, we broke the germ seal late in our episode about dips.
Look, I want to get rid of fruits. I also want to get rid of vegetables. Because
You want to get rid of
Vegetables
altogether?
entirely?
Yes.
I think carrots and celery are a perfect dip vehicle.
No,
Yes, it does slide off of them, but wait, what?
Garbage. You're trying to get rid of the celery. When were you ever like, oh, I'm so glad this is on celery?
I will say an honorable mention vegetable is a long diagonally sliced cucumber. Almost like a cucumber chip.
Yep.
Cucumber chips and hummus.
Only for cold dips. We haven't even talked about hot dips.
Yeah.
Queso.
Yeah.
No vegetables. I do not want, even broccoli with cheese, which is delicious. I don't want to do a raw broccoli and a hot cheese.
Well, I don't think any of these vegetables, even by nature of them having flavor themselves or whether they need to be served not just neutral room temperatures, I really do think we're going straight towards this. We got to find the Camry. And vegetables are too flashy to be the Camry.
It's not like you drive a Testarossa, Mark.
I drive a Hyundai
and poop all over the Camry.
I'm not pooping on the Camry, man.
Poop on it.
Look, the
Car
Camry,
pooper.
the 1989 beige Camry was the coolest car in my neighborhood. I don't know why. I liked its semi-boxy lines. I was a big fan of it. That said, that's what we need to find. We need to find the vehicle that can get the most dips. I was agreeing with you from earlier, Hal.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you me?
Whatever. You just look at me and see just a beige pill. I know you do.
Is that piano player playing the utilitarian blues?
I hear it too.
Hey, Vanilla Slim, quit playing that piano. We're trying to do a show.
Sorry.
So now it feels like we're into
We're into
real
chips and
stuff.
crackers.
Yeah.
Chips, crackers, and bread. Is there anything else we're missing? You're not going to put pretzels?
But I don't like a pretzel for this.
That's funny because I was going to say I really do like a big soft pretzel for hot dips,
Yeah.
cheese
Oh, yeah.
dips,
Absolutely.
even spinach artichoke dip. And it's kind of the perfect shape. A soft pretzel is the perfect shape.
You still tear it off chunks though.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
For a soft pretzel. You want the hook.
Is that
for
too
like
much
a
work?
huge- Yeah. You're
to break a piece of pretzel off. It's an extra step, is what you're saying.
That's too much. Shouldn't it be self-contained? Wouldn't the perfect vehicle be you don't have to build if I want to drive somewhere, I don't have to build a car or break two cars apart every time.
Guys, it's really coming back to this beef spoon, isn't it?
It kind of is. All roads lead to
the beef spoon.
That's a t-shirt right there.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, let's break them in half. Let's talk about crackers. We'll pull a best cracker and we'll pull a best chip out of the bunch and we'll let them go against each other in the finals. Of the crackers, what do you think are the most important attributes for it? Do you like a small one? Do you like a large one? It definitely has to have a good crispy to sturdy ratio. Yes. Are there any MVPs that pop up? Triscuits. The humble Triscuit. Yeah.
You want Triscuit on the, no way. Triscuits rip up your mouth.
Yeah. Look, Triscuit's going to make you earn it.
Yeah. Triscuits are kind of a perfect vehicle though, I think.
But they will carve you up. I guess you don't want something that will carve you up, especially if you have something hot, because that's just, you're creating pain.
Yeah.
Little pain. Crevices.
If I'm driving my Camry to wherever it is, to Dip Town,
yeah,
I want leather seats. I don't want steel wool seats.
Good point. It's a good point.
Though I do like a Triscuit.
Sure.
I would also I'll throw Wheat Thin out there. I think the Wheat Thin is a great cracker for a dip. It's smaller.
Yeah.
I think it's too small for a dip for me.
Fairly
personally.
bland.
It's a little sweet for me. For a dip, like it's got a little bit of sweetness to it, which is why like a Triscuit, it's a little more savory. They're both definitely in that but I mean, if you want like Camry beige, like that Cars water cracker is nothing. And it works in a hot dip or a cold dip. And it will just disappear into whatever, like it gives you just basically texture and the slightest bit of flavor.
It's a great cracker.
It is a great cracker. Is it strong enough though? Is it strong enough? Does it go in if it's a watery dip, does it go in like that shoe in Who Framed Roger Rabbit and just turn to mush the second it hits the dip?
No.
Tell me your top 3 watery dips.
Pico de gallo salsa, like a thin salsa.
Okay.
Au jus.
Yeah. I will straight up dunk Cars water crackers in a jus.
Sure.
That's 2 of the 3. And chocolate milk.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, that's okay.
All right. Fair enough.
Yes, there's moisture to dips. Yeah. That's what they are. That's what they are. They're sort of wet, malleable foods.
But the
foods that fill the crevices.
Those crackers are a lot sturdier than you're thinking they are. I guess
they are
imagining them being super thin. They're actually pretty sturdy.
I think I'm thinking of the other ones that are roughly the same size, but they're a little more shortbreadish where they crumble a lot easier. Cars have some snap to them, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I don't want to ruin the show, but if you've watched Only Murders in the Building, Martin Short eats dips with a spoon because he doesn't want the carbs, I think.
Yes.
I think the dips are great. I guess for me, if you're saying best vehicle for dip, it might be a spoon because then you're just getting pure dip. You don't have to worry about, but I also I would eat a spoonful of some dips, but most of them needs a partner.
Yes.
The Batman of the dip needs a Robin in the vehicle.
Yeah.
It needs a Batmobile. And this analogy is great and does hold up.
It does. So good. I tracked it 100%.
It does, especially because the dip is the Batman and not the other way around. Otherwise, then it's just a condiment. Yeah. If the vehicle is the Batman, then you're just dipping into a condiment. If the dip is the Batman, you need the Robin. That's very specific, I think.
But you don't need the Robin. You need the Batmobile. Yeah, this is where the analogy fell apart. I thought I was going Robin, and then I went, no. I think it's how's Batman getting to the Joker's lair?
He's riding on Robin's back.
Of my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Your mouth is the Joker's lair.
So the Batmobile is the vehicle for dip.
Uh-huh.
But Bruce Wayne's the only Batman, right? I mean, I guess there's probably extended.
There are other Batmen in the future.
Yeah.
And then there's Batgirl / Batwoman.
So no matter the dip, the vehicle stays the same.
There must be a vehicle, Batcycle.
There's a lot of vehicles, though.
You have choices.
God. Let's not go down this path.
What would you, guys, the victor is fried bat wings. They're big, flat. They've got space. There's little nooks and crannies in there.
We can't really even settle on a cracker, which that's not great.
No, it's not. Let's talk about chips because there's one chip that is standing out above all others.
Now, before you go into chips, Is a pita chip the one you're going to say? Because the pita chip is one of the king of dips.
It's great. Pita chip's a great chip.
The pita chip is a great chip.
Pita bread is great, and then we're back to bread. I just want to rule out bread because I do think it's
too
good.
Floppy.
It's too floppy. That's the thing. You need something stiff.
Is like the realization of like the pita bread is the immigrant parents who just want their child that like, I want a better life for you, my child.
Mom, I'm going out with my friends.
The child, the Fievel, is a pita chip who goes to the American West, but is also like, maybe my dad got really into Family Tree Maker in like the 90s, and I swear he was going to track us back to Fievel and the Jewish mice who came to this country at the turn of the century.
You're saying pita chip is the best the bread category can offer us.
Correct. It is the
toasted pita chip, like the Stacy's out of the bag, the big
like
rectangular,
a floppy,
thick
wet pita chip. Like it has to be a crispy chip. It's a
like
chip.
Restaurants I've seen like have cut, pitas into little triangles.
That's not a chip. That's a wedge of bread. It's bread in a different shape. Mark, don't let them fool you. Open your eyes.
But they said pita chips. It said pita chips, Hal.
I'm going to red pill you right now for pita chips.
Oomph. Oh, God, why is there a big hose of electricity in my back?
Take the hose out. Now you see how deep the pita hole goes.
Oh, why am I covered in this goo?
No, the pita chip is a chip. A wedge is a wedge is a wedge. It's like you can cut a bread into, like cornbread, you cut into triangles. It's still cornbread.
No, we're not.
Shape.
Baguette is out. Crostini's out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done.
All right.
Done.
We're now to chips. And I think there are 2 MVPs in this. Now that I thought there was 1 MVP. I think there are 2 MVPs because one you mentioned before, Hal. I think the Ruffles, a good solid sized Ruffles potato chip. And I think the other one, this is the one to beat all of them, is the tortilla chip. We haven't talked about the tortilla chip much.
Be specific.
Pretty much anything can go into a tortilla chip can be dipped into pretty much anything.
Be specific. There's a specific tortilla chip. I'm pointing at the camera. This is for nobody.
There are 2 different kinds of specific tortilla chips. I know Fritos makes one. Fritos makes both of them, or Frito-Lay makes both of them.
Ken's in there saying Fritos deserve a mention, and Fritos are great, but they're basically like witch's nails. They're not big enough.
Fritos are tiny.
Tiny.
But that's what I'm saying. And that is I think of the tortilla chips, I think we've got the yellow corn rounds. What do you mean? You just dismiss.
There's one that's the best of all of them if we're talking about a vehicle for dip.
I'm going through the list.
Stop saying all of them. Just say the good one. Come on, man.
Look, I know you have a hard out.
No chips listen to this podcast. I swear. I see the numbers.
We have the Tostitos scoop, which is more of a little, which almost looks like the paper that goes on the outside of a cupcake. And then we have the Fritos scoop,
you use,
which is the thicker version that's almost like shaped like a canal.
Yeah.
And that I believe
scoops.
is what you were holding up, Mark McConville.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
The Trader Joe's organic corn chip dippers.
Trader Joe's organic corn chip dippers.
Those are
dip is in the title. They are better than Fritos. They are better than Tostitos cupcake wrappers. This is it. There isn't another choice. You must eat these. They say what they want you to do in the title. Use them to eat dip. Dip it in some dip. Hello, my name is Organic Corn Chip Dippers. There's nothing. This is a bulletproof choice.
Now hold on.
I would eat this with any dip.
Oh,
and I have many times. Even like a Romanesco dip, a dip I do not like. This is the key.
So describe the shape of those. And yes, describe them to the listeners who might not know what Trader Joe's organic corn chip dippers look like.
Imagine like Shrek lost his toenail.
Well, that sells me on it.
It's a little, I don't know, about an inch around. It's like the end of a spoon. You know what a beef spoon looks like, right? Cut the handle off of it.
Oh, okay.
But it's not beef. It's sort of like a corn.
So we're down to the final 2. We're down to beef spoon and Trader Joe's organic corn chip dippers.
Yeah.
No.
I think so.
Is there one of those 2?
Hal probably, it seems like Hal's got one.
Spoon.
I do love corn dippers. I love those chips. Those are a staple in my household. And I like them better than the Frito scoops. They are slightly less greasy. That's the problem with Fritos, right? Is like, they are like, how much oil can we give you? Like, we want to make it so that you can't touch any fabric for 3 hours after you eat us.
Unless you want to see through it.
Tostitos scoops are larger and are made to hold the maximum amount of dip possible. Plus they taste really good.
I love Tostitos scoops.
I'm not saying they might be second place, but I do think that they are. I think to me, it is a neck and neck race. Sorry, Gags, I cut you off.
That's okay. No, I was trying to cut you off and failed.
And let me say this.
Here's my problem. My only problem with Tostitos scoops. I love Tostitos scoops for the first third of the bag, but they're very thin and crispy. They're a lot thinner than the Fritos version and these Trader Joe's versions. So sometimes you'll be trying to get a dip. Let's say if you're in the South, you're going for a pimento cheese spread. That's a hearty dip. That requires something with a little heft to it.
You might need a knife.
You might need a knife. Yeah. You might need a meat spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the tortilla scoop, the only problem with it is that it is a thinner chip, so it can't hold up to the heaviest dips. And also the second half of the bag just becomes tiny shards.
Let me say this about the Tostitos scoop. I think you found your Toyota Camry. But why would you ride around town in a Toyota Camry? You could drive around in a Lexus.
Will you put a big, look, it is the holidays. We haven't dropped the episode yet, so it's still the holiday season. Can you put a big red bow on that if it's a Lexus?
Darn right I can.
And put it in the driveway while it's snowing?
Of our lodge.
Trader Joe's organic corn chip dippers. The Lexus, it's just a luxury experience all around.
Look, you're not going to get an argument from me. I think that I think that it's
here. Prove me wrong. Start listing dips.
Salsa.
No.
Salsa. No problem.
Sure.
Give them to me.
Queso, bean.
Absolutely queso. Bean dip. No problem.
7-layer dip.
Yeah.
Cowboy caviar.
Love it. It's perfect for this, though. It's great. That is great with a Tostito show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's one that
caramel.
Is that it? Okay. I mean, I'd try it.
Sure. I would too. Look, I like a little bit of salty.
Yeah. Hummus?
Old applesauce.
Old applesauce. That water that collects on the top of a sour cream before you stir it.
Is the piano player playing old applesauce right now?
Yeah. I slipped him a tenner.
I can't think of a dip that I said it before. I said it again, like that Romanesco dip. This is another Trader Joe's product, but I'm sure that you can get it in other places.
What is Romanesco dip?
What's in it? It's very peppery. It's an Italian. So it would be great on sort of a focaccia bread.
Okay.
So do you not associate, you don't associate necessarily the corn tortilla chip with a certain Southwestern or Mexican or Tex-Mex cuisine, that it can handle dips from around the world?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it can. I don't like tapenade. I don't like olives, but I would try it with this corn chip. And I think I would like some of my bite.
Look, if you want to really think outside the bun with either of these chips, fill it with plain M&Ms and then eat that.
Okay, this is off the rails here. We're going into Sweet Town.
Now you're just on the road to heaven.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that, you got to use M&M minis.
No, use the full size.
Full size M&Ms.
I don't need to feel like a giant. You
just need to feel like a 6-year-old.
And mini M&Ms are not as good as M&Ms. Let's dispense that right now. I don't know. Why?
Because it's too much candy. It's too much candy coating to chocolate ratio.
Yeah, and it's all like lower quality. They're like, nobody's really going to eat these. We don't really care. We're phoning it in.
Look, for me, this is the king, and I don't see a reason for this king to abdicate. Though I would say maybe allergies are a problem for people. I don't know if this is a gluten-free option.
Corn is generally, right?
Yeah. Corn is gluten-free. I dated in high school. I dated a girl that had a severe corn allergy.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know how much stuff corn is in until you are allergic to corn.
Yeah.
Oof. That poor woman could only eat 7 things.
They changed a lot of the corn syrup stuff.
A lot of it was Romanesco dip. I'm sure she had to eat with a meat spoon.
But
meat spoon of Romanesco dip. Doo-da, doo-da. Look, McConville, you are
potato chip though. We did sort of go into, like you were saying, like, oh, is there a Southwestern flavor profile you're looking for with that. It's like, of course, but I can also see it branching out. But that classic potato chip onion dip, that's just a match made in heaven.
Sure.
And I would eat
That's
it
a Midwest flavor profile.
Sure. But I would eat it with these chips. I'm just saying it is better with a delicious, sturdy, Ruffles ridged potato chip.
And those sog up really fast, even the Ruffles. You can kettle bake them however you get them. They are prone to soppage. Is that what you call it?
That's what I call it.
And softening? Yeah, like that. It's just prone to that a lot quicker. Mark Gagliardi's greatest fear. I realize I have to be specific. I have to use last names here.
Yeah.
Gagliardi's greatest fear of a wet vehicle for dip.
I don't want a wet vehicle for dip, man. I don't want to take my cracker out of the mug of dip. I don't know why I'm having a mug of dip. It's a lot of dip, and I need the handle, and just have a little bit of the cracker in my hand. I don't want I don't want anything that's going to leave the vehicle for the dip in the dip. I think too many potato chips leave the vehicle for the dip in the dip.
It's really funny coming into this. I had an idea in my head of like the final two.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the final two that we have. It was the exact same final two. And when you held up that bag, it made me so happy. And not only that, like, look, I love when I agree with somebody's opinion, like, especially here. It's fun to do the arguing and stuff. It's even more fun to agree and be like, yeah,
then you know it's correct.
Is great.
Yeah.
But not only did you bring up a bag that made me smile and reminded my belly of happy times, but you made a good argument for it.
Yeah. Put some wasabi on them. I'll try it.
Anything.
Yeah.
Put anything on there. And so I say, in our very first episode of 2022, people of the world,
here it comes.
We celebrated New Year's. Now this coming weekend, you have my birthday to celebrate. January 9th.
Sorry, hang on a second, Hal. Just like 2 seconds of no piano. I just want to hear what Hal's doing.
Thank you. I thought I was going to have to shout to get over it.
You were saying about your birthday.
Yeah, birthday's coming up. Throw a party. Let's throw satellite parties everywhere. I'm just going to be at home quiet because I can't do parties. It's not for me. But I would like them to be held in my honor. And I'd like you to put out dip for yourself or for all the people there, however many people you're entertaining. Like ideal number in each place is probably about 50. So you're going to want to get a lot of dip, but you're also going to get a lot of the proper vehicle for whatever the dip is that you choose, which is the Trader Joe's organic corn chip dippers. It's the best vehicle for dip. Asked and answered. We did it.
Yeah, we did. Mark McConville, we could not have done this without you. You literally brought the correct answer with you.
Yeah.
And we thank you.
I'm going to open this bag and eat the whole thing right now.
I'm so really going to do that too.
I'll dunk it in soy sauce. That's more of a condiment than a dip. But I'll give it a shot. I'll put some pickled herring in there.
McConville, I want to see a corn dipper Epcot. I want corn dipper around the world.
No problem. And for Hal's birthday, we could take little individual Trader Joe's organic corn chip dippers and put your sturdiest dips in there and then just pop a little candle in there.
Right? And then one of them is going to be full of M&Ms.
Set it afloat on a Romanesco river.
Yep. Happy birthday.
Mark McConville, thank you so much for joining us. You are now contractually bound to come back again sometime.
Okay.
But until then, please, where can people follow you? What do you want them to see? Is there anything coming up that you want to promote?
Let's see. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Mark McConville. I own the same thing on each platform. Pretty great, huh?
That is pretty great.
Do you try to keep it consistent across platforms? And when there's a new platform like Blibby, hey, sign up for Blibby. Do you try to get your Blibby profile? Even though you'll probably never use Blibby?
Oh, there's a reason that I have a TikTok account, but I never really got that into it because I couldn't get Mark Gags on TikTok.
Yeah, well.
And I was like, yeah, you know what I am then? I'm like user 5281669 whatever. Like, I was like, yeah.
I'm going to start telling people to follow me on Plurk. Because where I have an account, you pick a social media platform from the last 15 years. I've got Hal Lublin parked on it.
Follow me on Clout, but it's the one that's Clout spelled with a C. It's spelled correctly.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. What a refreshing change of pace.
Right? Can I tell you the worst one of those that I've seen is those Uber ambulances in LA. It's AMBLNZ on the back of like a Sprinter van. And you're like, oh, come on, guys.
I bet you they get you to the hospital pretty quick, though.
Yeah.
You can watch Sanford and Son on DVD while you're bleeding out. That's high class.
You can follow me on Twitter and you can follow me on Instagram. And if you do sort of have an injury or a problem with your health, I do drive an ambulance.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
Well, this topic is closed, but there are many more topics to discuss. So please reach out to us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets, or
you can email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com, or go to our Facebook group. Talk about your favorite dips. Let's get some recipes going. And also, it really is my birthday coming up. Prepare to honor me. Facebook.com/group/WeGotThisPodcast. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks, of course, to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thanks to you, the people of the world, for giving us a chance to sit down and talk about a thing that clearly we are all passionate about. I want to dip all of you in the tastiest of dips. And that's going to fall apart like the Batmobile analogy did. So I'm going to stop
go with
there.
it. You're good. You're good. You're good. Keep going.
It out. Cape Crusader.
Thank you to Mark McConville, and to you, the people of the world. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody.
We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Audience supported.